All right, so see, sometimes life decides for you how it's gonna be. Come. And so what I have to tell you is there's no guarantee for a good trip. But there are people that know how to do it. And these people have been trained by life to be shamans. They didn't really choose it, they just came here and then they were trained. And you can tell these people apart from normal people by seeing that they're kind of like tough buddies, right? I mean, you cannot really push them down because, you know, I'm not really tall, but I carry a lot of weight. And if you want to understand that or not, you know, is not really my responsibility, but I feel like it's my responsibility to talk to you about people like that, who are like shamans, who carry, you could say, Christ consciousness and carry like the weight of the world on their shoulders. And how do you know that somebody like this can do it? Well, if you manage to always have a place for every person that you meet in your heart, and whatever they do, you never truly hate them because you always try to find a way to get through to them with your love. And that sounds a bit cheesy. That sounds a bit like, what the fuck? But that means having inner balance. That means, in a way, I don't love or hate anyone. You know, I love people generally, but there are certain things that I find very hard to tolerate or accept, and which is like pushing me down, because I'm here to make a wave and to get stuff going. Right. So, you know, now is also for me, you know, I'm like disturbing the peace. You know, I'm like walking in the middle of the night through a forest. And that's like quite loud the way I'm talking, isn't it? And, you know, I start sometimes feeling a bit uncomfortable, even when I'm alone in nature. And such emotions can be enhanced through psychedelics. And so sometimes people have like panic attacks when they smoke because some kind of inner vision or a feeling started to pile up on them. So what cannabis and psychedelics do is they reveal to you your hidden secrets, your dark treasure chest, so to speak. And especially truffles or psychedelic mushrooms are prone to do a bit of like dark mojo with you. So you have to learn to deal with that kind of shit. And if you don't, right, you don't just go somewhere and take psychedelics if you are not prepared to deal with the consequences. So if you go to any kind of place and you take psychedelics and you fucking die, then it's your own problem. Because you were just unfit for psychedelics. Bad luck. So there's a lot of yogis, because psychedelics are really like a really lazy way for yoga. And they keep you in these constant ups and downs. So what really would up your game, you know, your personal, you know, not like I'm fucking other people kind of game, but more like, you know, just what helps me without enforcing it on others kind of way. So I go into places like nature because I have the feeling I need more space. And because sometimes some kind of weight was pressing onto me more and more. Like emotional weight, expectations looming over me, like feeding into my anxieties of being not enough. And The thing is, when you are just in your normal state of mind, you're kind of floating around. Or maybe you could say you are snorkeling. You're paddling around on the surface of your life and you're like snorkeling. You have no idea what's gonna come from the back and you don't really know what's really around you. You just look downwards and you're like snorkeling around like so it's like one directional movement. But to me, as a feeling like quite like bam kind of being, you know, I need to like whoosh, jump around and crawl through things and like wade through the mud, and you know, that's because I'm a shaman, right? I'm kind of mad, right? So, you know, I have been in the places that you are afraid of. And because I've done this, and there are other people like me who have done this, I don't know how many there are, but I'm sure there are. And because I've gone into the fear of my own self and looked at it really closely, right? I have kind of an advantage over most people I deal with, which I don't use to suppress them, but more like push them aside. I don't want to keep them down, but if they try to like keep me from doing what I want to be doing, I just push them aside. You know, I just move them out of the way, or I move myself out of the way, right? Because I don't always want to like push, but sometimes I must. And you know, I don't want to break things or crush things, you know, but I just want to like have my own peace. You know, I do what I want to do, you do what you want to do, and maybe if what we want to do is kind of similar, we can do it together, right? And that's why, you know, people have to claim back their responsibility over their lives. They have to start doing things that they like with the intention of healing and making sense and no sense, and just like starting to lead a more fulfilled life. You know, that's the way that I use psychedelics, with that kind of mindset, this kind of mentality, saying I want to heal, I want to help nature, but I also realize at the moment there's too much stuff going on in my life. I cannot deal with these things because it would be at the cost of my happiness. And if I'm unhappy, how can I spread happiness in the world? So I first have to create happiness in my life through being active according to one's own nature. And that means going first back to nature, into nature, allow nature to train you, to make you strong. And to me, right, cannabis is a gift from nature that needs to be used with responsibility, because nature does not just create butterflies, nature also creates crocodiles. And if you are not careful, these things will fucking tear you apart. And right, if you want to end like people like maybe Chester Bennings or what his name was, you know, you will commit suicide in the end. And so psychedelics are safe in a safe environment. These societies are absolutely unsafe, and only in safe environments can you begin to heal. And safe means environments where there is a lot of room for trust. So a bit like within your family. And so if you don't feel like you can completely trust a person and you are really insecure, better think twice about doing anything with them. First, get to know them a bit, right? And look at the places that these people are. Sometimes it takes years to understand how somebody truly is. which doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad, it's just, right? Who could have known, right? Something like that. You see, I'm kind of somewhere walking around, it's dark, and now I have to deal with the fact that it's not my dog, and that maybe some people may be anxious, you know, when they cannot reach me and they think it's already dark. It's like a scary place for some people. So also I have an impact on the fear of other people. So of course, you know, I also have to make sure that I kind of live a good life, so that others can also maybe be more relaxed about their life. But I cannot really do that too much, because if I'm more concerned with the anxieties of other people, I forget to face my own anxieties by being courageous and going into nature and challenging myself. So while being kept safe is kind of like what mothers do to keep you safe, at one point you have to take responsibility, or else they will always keep you safe. Your mother will always like pinch you in the cheeks and feed you cookies just because she's your mother. But maybe one day you want to be a father yourself, and for that you have to do something, because maybe you want to have a better way of dealing with kids than your dad had. Like, I don't remember mine playing much with me, which means I never really had a relationship with him. I used it then, okay, I'm gonna figure it out by myself. And in a way I did that. And I got support from my family all along the way. I'm really grateful for this. I know, you know, sometimes it's really hard. You start hating the world, and sometimes the people that are closest to you are gonna have to carry some of that weight. So I started to realize that I carried a lot of weight of a lot of people for a very long time. And at one point I had to give it back to them, because it was their job to carry it. And if I would take it from them, I would rob them of the opportunity to grow by themselves. So I stopped worrying so much about other people and said, it's all their choice, now I'm gonna make mine, because that's what freedom is also about. You say, I want to heal, in a way, is a selfish decision. You know, I said, I want to heal, I don't give a shit if anybody likes that or not, because they probably won't like it, because to them it's gonna mean that guy's gonna get a little bit more uncomfortable than he already is, because he now starts asking all these kinds of questions. And that means, you know, when you really want this, it's gonna be a hell of a ride. And whether you take psychedelics or not doesn't really matter, but you know, whether you've done it or not. And the beginning of the journey probably starts with something like, yes, I want to do it. I want to have what that guy has, you know? And you just try figuring out what works for you. You know, don't worry about questioning me, because I'm as genuine as I can be, but I'm also walking this same kind of road. I'm just walking it alongside with you, because everybody else who tried doing that is kind of dead. And so at one point, I think somebody has to take the responsibility and just push everybody like a bit further. Like, let's move this a bit to the like happy place, because like Kali Yuga or something, it's like dark, it's like you know, like nail Christ to the cross, like fuck him, he's evil, right? That's the kind of thing, like that's the kind of thing. Christ came and they fucking killed him. They said, you're too good to be true, we're gonna murder you. Like nobody was ready, but he planted the seed already. He planted the seed and it germinated. And the psychedelics brought it out. It's like, here world, take a bit of Christ consciousness and become somewhat acceptable. And stop talking so much, you know, you have to really do it now. Be that courageous person. Be like the master of your life. Be Mr. Incredible. Be man and wife. Like, stop fucking each other. Stop being such fucking assholes. You know, stop like driving around so aggressively in your car. I mean, that just makes you look stupid. I mean, seriously. No, I don't like want to like whatever. Or at least if you do anything, you know, just do it for yourself, but not to pretend. Yeah.